Welcome back, guys, as we are about to jump into game two here between Oz and Polt. Both players are ready, Rob. That was actually kind of hard to say. You ready to go, Rob?
You bet I'm ready to go for game number 2 here on Daybreak. That means that this is Oz's choice. We saw Polt kind of mow through Oz's army there in the end.
Yeah, something happened that got him the positional advantage. We weren't able to actually see that due to a hiccup in the game, but Bio was just very, very strong there, and it got him the win. So now he is up 1-0 over his opponent, and we're jumping into game two. Rob, who do we have?
Over here on the left side of the map, he is currently 0-1 in this series. He's got to win this to stay in it. FX opens Oz. Over here, he's currently leading the series, 1 game away from advancing, playing as the Blue Terran, TSL's Polt.
Now I really wonder if Oz is going to get desperate or if he's just going to play the same game. And I also wonder what Polt's going to do here as well. I mean, I felt like he just was in a very commanding lead after that fight.
Well,
but
yeah, it was really only after that fight. That was the thing. Oz didn't really do anything wrong.
Right.
Before that, both of them were pretty much on an even keel. Actually, we saw that, the Colossus count was pretty high already. I mean, maybe the Stalker count was just a little too low. He wasn't really able to stop the massive amount of Vikings that were out there.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so let's see here as we do have a scout coming out for the Protoss player. Not really anything out of the ordinary. And Polt has, I guess he's going for a CC first here, which, it is Daybreak. That the distances between your opponent and yourself are just very, 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 very far. So because of that, you can go for that command center first.
Yeah, and Polt is most certainly going to be doing that, saving up all dim minerals. And over here, Oz going for a standard play, also adding on his assimilator as well, following up after his 13 gate. Oh man, but the probe gets back just in time.
Oh,
wow! Just barely out of range to block that command center, and Polt gets it down.
And will Oz actually kind of try to react to this? Like we said, it does take so long to get across the map that with this Rax being started, and he's going to have enough Marines, I think, in due time to be able to defend against any attack that Oz will kind of throw at him. Had Oz really gone for a gateway on 12 or maybe 11, he could get a Zealot across the map, but going for that standard 13 gate, it just will not allow for it.
The walk distance is just so far to get a Zealot over there to affect the build time of that. And now Oz is going to be trapped inside the base, getting all the information he wants. He is going to see that second barracks being added on. I don't believe it's really going to change his play at all. Oz adding on a Nexus, expanding all on his own.
The reason that the second Rax is needed is because if Oz is going for any aggressive play, you really have to be able to produce that many more Marines just to make sure that you're A-okay. We'll see eventually a bunker placed probably right around here to fend off any Stalkers, because Marines this early on without a bunker are just so easy for Stalkers to pick off. So we do see the Cybernetics core, of course, going down. Did he go for Nexus before core? I believe he did.
He did.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you're not going to have anything coming from your opponent, so you can't kind of cut that corner. And at this level, I mean, that's basically what this game really comes into it. It's small corners that you can really cut. I think he even skipped the initial Zealot, so
yeah,
he was able to use that 100 minerals instead on the Nexus as well.
Right, he skipped the Zealot straight up to that Stalker that he is now chrono boosting out. And because Stalkers have that bit of a range advantage and movement speed advantage on Marines, this is actually going to be really nice for Oz because Polt's adding on 2 more barracks.
Yeah,
and he feels good about what he did last game.
Yeah, oh, and I love this from Oz. If your opponent goes for that expansion and won't have a huge army or any offensive ability for some time, he can easily just take his third base.
He most certainly can, especially with how semi-timid Polt was. He had a sizable army and was just kind of kept waiting for upgrades. So maybe he's expecting to completely abuse that aspect of Polt's play this time.
Yeah. There's the bunker that we were just referencing. He's already got 2 refineries here, but he just started mining from it. So by the time, or maybe a little bit later, but he's going to basically start a quick combat shield, I would think. Maybe going for stem. We'll see, though, if he wants to be more defensive or offensive here. I would think that combat shield is going to be the choice, though. And, oh, looks like we are actually waiting for server once again. And as we wait for that, we're going to cut back to us real quick here, and this will get sorted out. But at this point in the game, I mean, there's not any fights or anything like that about to happen. So really not the biggest deal. The big deal is that we're able to get back in this game, and it's not going to really be a different game.
Yeah, but and I mean, there's been at least a slight divergence in strategy this time around, right? Oz going for that fast third base. If he's able to hold on that for a long amount of time, and if he's able to hold off the undoubtedly very, very powerful aggression that's going to be coming out of Polt as he adds on additional racks, we also see that he's getting a tech lab as well. If he's just able to live beyond Polt's initial aggression, Oz can definitely pull through this.
Yeah. So we are actually now back in game here. Let's go ahead and get back into that. And I mean, as you can see, nothing crazy happened whatsoever. We see a tech lab being added on as well as 2 reactors. And this is kind of actually a little fun here as the game seems to still progress forward somewhat. As long as it doesn't happen in a giant battle, I guess I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So Oz over here has now established the third. He's got a couple sentries over there as well. Try to act for a little bit of a makeshift defense and throwing down 3 additional gateways. Now the thing about establishing your third before you add those gateways means that he will be able to keep up the production. You see people do a lot of 2 base 7 gate pushes, and really you can't support enough rounds of those units
right
to keep up production. And Polt meanwhile has just started a third of his own.
Yeah, and we are going to see Oz go for most likely a big attack here, but you know, if Polt can actually see, you cannot see that pylon from there, but it is a very common spot. We even see another pylon over here. He's chasing down the stalker.
Oh, is he going to be able to cut the army and have no Polt? Apparently, with his amazing intellect. Yeah, he probably saw the zealots coming in there.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be chasing off that army. Oh, he does not get in range fast enough to land any valuable force fields, and Polt is able to pick off one of those zealots.
He can't chase, though, because he doesn't have that concussive shell upgrade. So because of that,
well, he also doesn't have stim either, so he's kind of just in a weird spot.
Yeah, Oz can just sit right here and wait for his opponent to try to come down and hopefully split the army with the sentries. That's what we're actually going to see him do here.
Yeah, he's just trying to bait him that. Absolutely. You are correct. Pinch, poke, yo me a Coke. Jinx, JP.
What?
Well, we said bait him out at the same time.
Gotcha.
Yes, we did. And so we have Oz moving around here. He sees the command center, but will he be able to kill it? But now he actually doesn't have enough units that can attack it while it's flying. And of course, Polt. Oh, well. Oz staying very aggressive here. Now, Oz is actually a little bit behind on, okay, there we go. One of his pylons does wrap up. So he's going to be able to continue warping into units. He's also started Blink while he drops down his double forge. Now he's just trying to keep Polt inside his base. Some money force fields being landed down. He also gets off the Guardian shield, killing a few Marines and escaping with minimal loss.
Yeah, and with that, he can start to warp in some more Stalkers here. He lost some Zealots in that last engagement, but because Polt is being so closely guarded to this orbital, it's really going to be hard for Oz to come in and pick things off here.
Oh.
He just used so many force fields, and that is a lot, but he actually split the army completely here as some SCVs do leak out. Right now, 99 supplies, they're really dead even, but here is another warp in, and now as Stim finishes, we see Polt moving forward as well as some SCVs, and he is going to start chewing through those all-important sentries, those very important sentries, and he will be chasing out Oz from his natural.
Yeah, we saw the tide of battle really be turned as soon as those sentries ran out of energy. That was the big issue there. He felt comfortable in the fight until his sentries weren't able to protect his units anymore. He used all of his energy on, it looks like 8 force fields for the one engagement. It split off a good chunk of the army, but because Polt has defender's advantage, he's going to be pumping out units consistently, and as soon as those force fields wore out, he had reinforcements come down the ramp and wrap it up. And now, Oz, continuing on with his upgrades, he's also throwing down a Templar archive.
Yeah. So he's getting the robotic facility most likely for the Observer, but it also opens up that eventual tech change once he does get charged, and those Templars, and most likely those Archons. But at this point, Polt can kind of change the pace of the game as he sees fit. And if he moves out, he will be able to do that very, very easily here. But at the same time, Oz does have this pylon. He's going to be able to warp in these two Zealots and hopefully not take out these mules here as they are pulled. But because of that, they are losing mining time.
Yeah, which is somewhat valuable. They lost at least, I don't know, maybe one return running around that orbital command, and Polt, of course, with the quick cleanup. Oh, well, he's placing a pylon over there, and it's important to have pylons everywhere so that you can warp in from wherever happens to be advantageous for your current engagement. And Oz is actually going to have to retreat a little bit just because of how fast and how high the DPS of Polt's army is going to be if Oz is caught out of position.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of out of position, it's looking like Polt has just a few units too far away from the rest of his army, but Oz does not capitalize on that. He knows that the rest of that force is coming and runs back into his third.
And he is loaded up and potentially going for a big drop to move forward here with his army to make sure that he had control of his Zelnaga tower before doing so. This pylon has no chance to actually see it. And there's actually the main stage kicking in, Rob.
Oh, yes.
We can no longer hear ourselves talk.
And Polt's coming in here with a pretty big drop. Oh, man, there's actually only one pylon over there powering those 3 gateways right now. Polt needs to focus fire that down. Yes, indeed, he does. He finishes it off, so he's not going to be able to warp in too many other units over there, and Oz is forced to split his army. He's trying to come back here to defend his base, but that surface area is just far too small for him to deal with.
Yeah, and these Zealots are trying to connect. You see the force fields being dropped there, but there is just so little area. Only 2 Zealots can attack at one time, so those aren't going to be the best here. This one really was not needed, and because of that, he's able to chew through that army, and this army went over to his third base to deflect this small little scouting party. But now we see a big run-in over here to the main base as they have retreated, sniping a Templar, and a huge
the big storm
going down, and that is basically exactly what Oz needed. Oh, he's just continuing to storm the hell out of these Marines and Marauders and picks up the last second. No energy to really feed back on that medevac, so it is going to be able to get away.
He cleaned up the rest of the army that was in his base, but Polt has continued production. He has another sizable force massing up around that mid part of the map there. He does have another 4 medevacs as well as a large army of Marines and Marauders. So you can bet this assault is going to continue, although this time Oz looks more prepared.
And at this stage in the game, Polt is still without Ghosts. So these Psy Storms and Templars are just going to chew through him right here. You can see those storms doing so much damage. A small reinforcement here, but Oz is going to be able to just run over this army. 2 force fields, getting a lot of Marauder kills there for the Protoss player. And right now, Polt is not looking good. He waited way, way too long before choosing to get those Ghosts out.
And we can see him just about to win that skirmish. One of the Archons being taken out. There's a few units that are going to be moving in for the flank. Now they're just about all the way out of HP, so they will not be able to sim too much more. Half of that army is all that's able to sim, but the Zealots are closing the gap very quickly. The medevac picks up what it can and gets the hell out of Dodge.
And right now the supplies are a little bit in favor of Oz by about 20, 151 to 133. But the nice thing here is that Polt has this choke to work with, and because of that, we're going to see this wide open area be the path of attack for Oz, because with this area you can simply force field it, and you know, I pretty much see him actually just taking this third down regardless of what Polt really has to say about it.
Polt doesn't have enough to stop this, right? There's no doubt. I mean, we just finished seeing all of his army pretty much get fried. There's just so many Zealots out on the field. Got 30 Zealots, 4 Stalkers, 4 High Templar, and 3 Sentries to 17 Marauders. Now that's actually a lot of meat, and only 18 Marines though. Yeah, he takes out the third and pulls back.
Yeah, and we already see the tech change right there, and Immortal coming out, as well as that robotics bay. Ghost Mobius reactor is about to be finished here, but Rob?
That's 5 Marauders being produced at once, so as soon as he can get any Immortals in play, he is going to eat right through them.
Yeah.
Oh, a very nice move as well, taking the positional nexus towards the center of the map as he expands. This is the comfortable time to do it, because while Polt's retaking his third, why not take a fourth?
Yeah, and that is a lot of Templars here. He is just loving the Psystorm in this game too. And he is very, very quickly approaching that 200 supply. Colossus is coming out here pretty soon, as well as 2 more Forges. I guess those got sniped earlier on with that drop in the back of his base. Polt going for a big drop here in just a couple seconds, splitting off 3 of these medevacs, and if those can actually get across the map and do some damage, they're going to deal great things for Polt, but he's got to make sure he doesn't get scouted by this pylon and by this probe, which most assuredly, if he cuts to the left now, will find that. Oh, and he's even got a High Templar there for the money feedback.
Oh man, fortunately none of those medevacs have too much energy, so he can't be caught terribly off guard. Oh wow, Oz making a big push into that third, stopping the construction on it and just demolishing it. Now, Oz does see those 3 medevacs, but I'm not sure that he's going to be able to respond in time. He finishes out the third and just pulls back. He just needs to keep this army that Polt can't engage. Now Polt's moving around the bottom of the map. He's going to try yet another drop, but how much will halting Oz's production really help him at this point in the game? Even if he kills those pylons, kills a few of the gateways, right now Oz already has a 50 supply lead in the army count.
And he still does not have that warp gate cooldown. I think he just warped in over here, so this could be potentially very bad if he's going to start chewing through the pylons. Taking down that robotics facility was a good move, so he can no longer produce losses out of that.
Wow. Surprisingly enough, we see him going for an all-out retreat back into his base to clean up this army. Now, those production buildings are just dropping left and right. Oh, going for a pretty crucial tech structure there, taking out the robotics bay. Although I don't know that Oz really needs it at this point. We'll see if he's able to get back through this. Now, he's just going to have to get in there, land some more pylons down, make sure that he powers up all of those production buildings once again so that he can get remaxed. This gives Polt a comfortable opportunity to continue growing his army, but really he only just reestablished his third, and he's still behind on the base count.
Yeah, that was basically what Polt needed to really keep himself in this match. He was just under constant pressure with those Psystorms over at his third, even losing this command center. So because of that, I mean, the drop basically is the entire reason that we still have a match here, Rob, is Oz just had to fall back, and because of that, it's going to still be on this High Templar tech.
Ooh, yeah, man. Zealot, Archon, Colossi. If he's able to close the ground in between those, it's really going to come down to Polt's ghost positioning here. Whether or not those ghosts are able to get off their money EMPs in time, that's what the next battle is going to come down to.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, right before the waiting for server happened, the drop was about to go back in for Polt. We could see both armies in the middle of the map kind of just figuring out exactly where they want to engage. But if we do a warp forward here, I would think that Polt is going to use that drop to try to force his opponent to fall back or split his army, and then move forward with that army in the center of the map, and with that try to take out that 4th base of Oz, and if he could do that, he will basically be 100% back in this game.
That's right, he will be, and so we see that Polt is starting to drop onto potentially that center base. Oh no, just scouting around with his factory. And he did drop down into the natural, killing a large chunk of those probes left and right. Oh yeah, Oz getting rid of that scouting factory. And there we have so many Zealots being warped in, charging and slicing up the rest of those units. Oh, it seems as though there was a bit of a counter onto Polt's third, and he's lost a good chunk of workers.
Yeah, so with this forward pylon, he was able to deny mining from this, and we might see a meeting of the 2 armies here. The army of Oz, I gotta say, is just okay, catches 2 of those. A little bit of miscontrol there from Oz. A scan going down to make sure to see where the army's at. Oz is a little bit messing up, but here come the ghosts. Let's watch for those huge snipes. They're getting 2 full energy, 3 full energy Psystorms there, and here's a big warp in. This is getting scary. Where are those force fields there? Splitting the army. That is not going to be good here. Oz should secure this win. He needs to get those Archons, though, to break those force fields so his Zealots in the back can't connect.
Oh, man, that is just such a massive force. You see the Ghost trying to flank, but Polt just does not have enough to keep it up. And Polt is forced to tap out Oz, tying up the series.
Yeah, so we are now going to game 3, and we're going to do that right after this quick commercial break, guys. I'm JP McDaniel.
And I'm Rob Simpson. Stay tuned for game number 3 between Oz and Polt when we come back here at Championship Sunday at the MLG Winter Championship.